All right. AJ Barrera.
Yes.
Welcome to After Curfew.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for being here. So for people who don't know AJ, do you want to give a little insight on what you do?
Yeah. So I am a psychic medium. I've been doing this work for over 2 decades. So I've been blessed to help people connect with their loved ones who have passed on, but I also give intuitive guidance to individuals that are looking for, life, business, career, and all that good stuff. So I provide that direction. Even I work with Fortune 500 companies and people that meet with me for more of that side of things rather than the mediumship. But, I've been blessed to, work with my abilities for the last 22 years. And I never thought I would be doing this for a living at all whatsoever, because my direction was supposed to be in either law enforcement, a fireman, and this and that. And here I am, continuing to bless, so many different people with my abilities.
When was the first time that you were like, okay, something's weird or something's different?
Yeah, I think even to this day, I know there's something weird and different about me. You know what I mean? I joke around with people about that. But for me, I never really had a near-death experience. I never saw a spirit at the end of my bed. I never had these weird moments that happened. Everything was really natural and organic. So for me, I grew up watching certain television shows, and I don't know if I can say them, but like Sally Jesse Raphael, Jenny Jones, Montel, Maury, that had psychics and mediums on television.
Maury.
Yeah, right.
That's a classic.
Right.
When I was home from school, Maury, Jerry Springer's.
That's what I mean. So growing up watching some of these talk show hosts, they would have psychics and mediums on television. And for me, I thought, what a crock of BS. This is all planned. They all tell people what to say. This is all set up and this and that. So for me, I kind of went onto my own journey trying to understand, like, well, is this real? Do we all have this ability, or is it only a gift? You know what I mean? So I really don't believe it's a gift. I believe it's a natural ability that we all can develop. So from sixth grade to 8th grade in my junior high school, I was reading the tarot cards. And I was reading, I was a cool guy in junior high school.
That is cool,
I wasn't. Yeah, I was a weird kid giving readings. And to me, I thought, hey, maybe I'm just like a guesser. Maybe I'm just guessing all this information. And there's nothing I'm tapping into. It's just like, I wasn't really reading the cards, if that makes sense.
Okay.
To me, I think I was reading the energy. And I don't think I recognized I was reading energy, because the cards were like a crutch for me. Like I was trying to tell a story, and I realized that it was just me tapping into that person's vibration. So for me, mediumship, which is connected with the other side, happened when I was a freshman in high school. I met my high school teacher, and she's the one that told me I had abilities to communicate with the other side. She was a medium herself and still is to this day. And she told me I had abilities to communicate with the other side. So I started working with her for those 4 years in high school. And at age 19, professionally, my career took off on radio in LA. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did she see that in you? Did she see you doing the tarot readings at lunch, or like
no,
she just knew?
This was, so I transitioned from the junior high school to high school. So she had no idea who I was.
Okay.
We did not know each other. She just knew energetically, intuitively that I had an ability, which is bizarre, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was like, how the heck does this lady know? Like she doesn't know anything about me, like this and that. So, and to backtrack, my mom worked for the district. So she worked at that school. So it wasn't like anything weird was going on. Like she made sure she got permission from my mother. Is it okay that I can speak with your son about this, about, psychic work, out of body experiences, astral projection, all that stuff. So really she taught me a lot of things I had knew nothing about, honestly.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, oh, this is super cool. So the more I started working with her, that's when I started doing like house calls in high school, going to my friends' parents' homes and charging for readings then, like, just learning how to work donation based. And now this is what I do full time, doing this work. So it's crazy how my life really took off. And, some people say, oh, you became an overnight success. And I go like, I've been doing this work for, again, 22 years. Nothing has been overnight with me. Yeah.
Right. How was like explaining? I mean, because some people are like, that's so cool. But some people are like, ooh, that's creepy. Like you're like, you see dead people type thing. Was your mom like, and everybody else like, yes, this is amazing? Or were they unsure at first? Like,
I'm glad you asked that. So funny story about this. So my mother was more, I guess, accepting to this, because she would always tell me like, hey, Montel's on, we have Sylvia Brown's on TV, she's doing readings and this and that. And so she always let me know like, hey, there's a special or this and that. These mediums were on the show. So she knew I was curious with it. I love anything paranormal, the X-Files, I Dream a Genie, Bewitched, like all that, the unexplained. So I was fascinated with all that stuff. But I did not know how comfortable they were, because growing up as a Catholic, That's taboo.
Mm-hmm.
It's against religion. It's the devil's work. It's all that stuff. So my grandmother, who's passed on, and my grandfather, they were devout Catholics, like devout, meaning like if you want something to happen, tell your grandparents to pray for you and it'll make it happen. It's kind of like one of those moments. And for me, moving through that process, I felt like that my mother accepted it because she knew it came from a good place and knew that I was doing good work for people. But she was always afraid to tell people what I would do for a living. She would say, "Oh, he's a consultant. He's a consultant." And people who are nosy, like, a consultant for what? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? And so like, oh, he helps people. You know what I mean? Like, what do you really say? So my dad, on the other hand, he did not know until my first radio appearance on a radio station here in LA. And I think he just thought it was like a phase I was going through. You know what I mean? So I'm like, no, this is not a phase. I've been going through this for like how long? You know what I mean? So, and I told my dad, hey, I'm going to be on the radio from 7 to midnight. I'm going to be doing some readings, listen to this station and da-da-da-da. So I left the house. I was living with him at the time and went to the radio station in Burbank. And 7 o'clock, they announced my name. Mom and dad were the first people to text me and they were just amazed and happy. And when I told my dad, like before I left, said, hey, I'm a medium. He had no idea what the heck it was.
Right.
Really, he did not. And he goes like a median, like meaning like a median, like on the freeway. Right. I don't know, like a medium, like I talk to the dead. This is what I do. And so he did not really know. And so I think for them having a better concept and understanding that this is not a phase, like this is what I do. This is what I love to do. This is my passion. I don't see what I do as work because I wake up every day reading for clients and doing shows and doing this and interviews and online events, and it's what I love. It's a passion. So I'm blessed that my parents allow me to embrace what I love to do.
Right. Okay. So when you are doing a reading, is it like there's a bouncer at the door and like there's a whole bunch of spirits trying to come in? Like, is there a way to regulate it? Is there a switch? Like how does it work? And then what do you see? Like, do you see people? Do you see images? So
there's a lot. So we'll go with the first question. The bouncer. So yes, my bouncers would be like my guides, so we all have like a master guide that are assigned to us before we're even born. We have a primary guide, a secondary guide, and tertiary guides. These other guides are with us. And these could be monks, shamans, medicine woman, a priest, whatever it is to help us on our path. Those guides assist in the process of delivering information. So meaning that I'm not going to my guides to communicate information. If something doesn't make sense to me, it's kind of like my guides come in and saying, hey, use this reference. This is what they're talking about. So to me, it's a 4-way conversation. Spirit, my guides, me, and the client. And so it's a conversation that I'm having very quickly as that information coming through. So when I'm doing my events, think of it this way. If I'm in a room of 500 people, 1,000 people, you can feel that energy on stage, like the anxiety, the feelings, the anticipation, like I want my loved ones to come through, all that's there. And I feel that when I get on stage, it never goes away. And once I start the first reading, it's kind of like, for me, whichever energy in that room is the loudest and strongest will get my attention. And that's how it works. So it's not like I have 500 loved ones or 1,000 people waiting for me. It's whatever energy is the loudest for me. And I will go into a section like, hey, lady in the back row, I got your dad here. He's passed away by blah, blah, blah. This is what he's bringing through. Like I can be very specific of knowing where I'm at. And other times I may say, hey, I'm in this general section, 25th row or 30th row, 5 person over, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I got your son here. Da, da, da. Like it's a feeling and I don't know how to describe it, but I just know where I'm at. And that's how that connection happens. So the way I process that information, I see things, which is clairvoyantly. So I will see it either subjectively or objectively. So either as a projection or like a movie reel being played in my head very quickly. I will hear the information either subjectively or objectively. So it's either I hear it out loud or as a thought. Okay. And then I will feel, which is clairsentience, or I will feel the information or how that loved one passed on. So if someone passed away with a heart attack, I will feel pain in my chest. If someone passed with, say, an impact to the head, I will feel pressure to my head. If someone was a W amputee, my legs will go numb. Like there's many different things that I had to learn over the years, what these symbols represent. So think of it as like psychic sign language or psychic charades. Like I'm interpreting the information. And sometimes there are references that I get that I do not make any sense to me, but make complete sense to the client.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. I just did this reading Friday, and I was reading for this mother who lost her son. And at the very end of it, I said, your son is playing for me Stairway to Heaven, which is by, I can't think of the band.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin.
Oh, that is. Yeah.
So I told her that, and she goes, oh my gosh. She starts crying. She goes, when I was cleaning out my son's room, we found an old radio. And when we turned on the radio, that was a song that was playing. She goes, we couldn't get any other station except that song was playing.
Wow.
That radio never worked ever since that song played. And she still can't play that radio.
No. Chills.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So this is why I love what I do, because like to see the healing happen right in front of my eyes. But I always try to express to people, it's not about me. I'm just the conduit. I'm just the messenger. It's all about spirit and you. And this is why I strive so hard at providing evidence, information, the best you can. Because if I was on the other end, I would want to hear that. I wouldn't want to hear like, hey, I got this person in spirit, don't know which side of the family is. He might pass away of XYZ. Not sure. With me, I try to provide names, dates, passing, all that stuff to have you, the sitter, understand this is truly your loved one coming through.
Yeah.
And that's the whole purpose of mediumship, is providing evidence.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel after, I mean, because it's very heavy. You have people crying and, you know, whether it's good tears or bad.
Right.
Is it easy to shake off after, or does it really affect you? Because I feel like that would affect someone's mental. Like I would be depressed if I had to go tell somebody something really dark.
It's a balance, a healthy balance. You know what I mean? So think of me like when I'm out on the street, going to the grocery store, whatever, I'm off. I'm turned off. I'm not like picking up spirits. I'm not at the grocery store reading for people. I'm not invading someone's privacy. I work ethically. You know, I'm ethical about this work. So I'm not going to go like, hey, I got your dad here and this is what he wants to say to you. No. If you come to me and sit with me either virtually or you come to my events, your intent is to connect. So I know we're in a sacred space. That's what you're there for. But if I see someone at a restaurant or something like that, I'm not going to read for them. Absolutely not.
But you are able to shut that off. Like there isn't like someone like, hey,
no,
look behind you.
Yeah, just like, you know, you and anyone else that, you know, have a job, either, you know, whatever that looks like, either working from home or working wherever you do, wherever you're at. When you clock in, you clock in, and you clock out, you clock out. Same thing with me. When I turn on, I turn off, and I'm off. Wow. I'm not going to get any of those messages. Very rarely something like that will happen, but usually it's because I'm in an environment of like, say, a spiritual center or something like that, or I'm doing the work itself at some capacity, or for example, today I'm doing a podcast. If I'm doing the work, if spirit shows up randomly, then I do it because the host or the crew know who they're interviewing.
Well, you know what we're getting into. We're all like,
exactly.
Who's here?
Right.
Yeah. What about like you read for somebody and it's not like, I'm sure like say like if a mother lost her child, she wants to connect with that child, but then grandma is coming in and the child's not there. Does that happen? Or are you able to be like, yeah, I know who you want to talk to. I'll connect with them.
So my intent when I do this work is to just be the vessel, the messenger. And I always give my clients the an intro of how I work, the process, what to expect. Because everyone has those special people that they absolutely positively want to sit with, you know, and they want to hear from with the medium. And I explain to them, I have no control over what comes through. And I don't want to know who you want to link with because that's not your job. My job is to provide that information without you telling me, because if you tell me, then I'm influenced by that information, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because then there's nothing really evidential about it. And it makes my job as a medium, I have to work harder to provide more information to prove that it is her son that's coming through. Right. Because she already validated my son's passed on. So now I got to bring through how he passed on, names, personal details, and all that stuff to make that experience real for her. So with any of my clients, I don't want them to tell me who they want to connect with at all.
Yeah. And you don't want to know anything about them.
That's not my job.
Yeah.
My job is to give you that experience.
Being that you are in Los Angeles, I'm sure, have you ever read for any celebrities?
A ton.
Okay.
I can't say who they are.
Okay.
I work from confidentiality, but you would know a lot of Grammy Award-winning artists, actors, Tony Award winners, you name it.
Okay. Yeah. But is it harder to read for people who like, say if it's like Kim Kardashian, it's like, okay, everybody knows who Kim Kardashian is.
I think the hardest part for the medium, not really for the sitter, is the medium needs to provide details that is not given to the public, if that makes sense.
You almost have to work harder. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's crazy.
And it's hard because there is someone that I read for recently, which someone else gifted the reading to this individual, and I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, like this is one of my favorite person. And you know what I mean? But I can't show that, but I just go in there because like, you know, I have to see this as everyone looking for guidance or looking for healing. Mm-hmm. It's truly the fact, no matter what you do, if you're a millionaire, billionaire, celebrity, musician, actor, whatever that looks like, we're all looking for the same thing, guidance or healing. So for me, kind of like going back to the part with the mother, just respect the process because, you know, if grandma comes through, let grandma come through because grandma will then bring through maybe her son and then her grandchild and this and that. So sometimes people will have 5, 10, 1 or 2 different people depending on the loss and depending on the information that they can validate.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a reading where it's crickets and there's no one?
No.
Someone will always come through if there's a connection.
Again, it has to be the medium. They have to be in their craft. They should be doing this. If you cannot connect with a loved one, then you should be doing the work. I get people, believe it or not, that I bring through loved ones that they don't want to hear from, meaning because there was a toxic relationship. You know, say a father and daughter or father and son, they had a big fight or whatever it is, and they don't like each other and still don't like each other and they don't want to hear from each other. Like there's like been moments where those spirits will come through, but I always have to express to that client, let me do my job. Let me do this because I don't want them to navigate the reading or do the reading themselves because if their dad is coming through or that person that they don't like, they don't want to hear from, it's because a message that they need to hear, the sitter.
Yeah.
It's the healing they need as much as they don't want to hear from that person.
The tough love. Yeah.
Yeah. So
not what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear.
That's what I always tell them.
Yeah.
100%.
Wow. Have you ever had a dark entity come in? Because I think that's what, like, for me, I love this type of stuff. Like, I think it's so fascinating, and I think it's a crazy gift that you're able to tap into. But it scares me a little bit because like it's like the ghosts and like, you know, things are moving around. You're like, what the hell is that? Right. Like, do you ever have like a supernatural experience after connecting with somebody, like lingering? I guess.
Yeah and no. I mean, I can tell you an experience that happened with the reading I did for a gal. I think she lost her fiance or boyfriend. And this was several months ago. And I was doing the reading and I said, I don't know why your husband or again, I don't remember boyfriend, your significant other.
Yeah.
Why is he showing me a bee? She goes, that's how I connect with him. That's his message to me is bees. And I would call him my little bumblebee or something like that. And so a bee would always land on her car or it would be like in this or that, like weird places. I said, and then breeding, I said, I've never had a bee land in my car. Never had that happen. That day I left to the grocery store, a bee landed on my car. So again, weird moments like that I'm like, okay, I threw that out to the universe and the universe was like, okay, here you go, AJ, pay attention to this.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's little moments even after reading that comes through for me to kind of validate the experience for the sitter, but also for me to understand, like, never say never. Yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I mean, I have so many stories and weird things that have happened, but I mean, like, we just have to know, like, even like the whole paranormal stuff, like the ghosts and the hunting or ghost hunting or paranormal, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. We have to respect that process. We can't be out there provoking spirits and come talk to me, go do this and go do that. Like, yeah, I get it. You're doing it for television and so on and so forth. But when I used to go investigate, I do it here and there, but I go there to document, like to capture EVPs. EVP stand for electric voice phenomenon. So it's where spirit speaks to the white noise, where I've actually captured many different things. There was a one investigation that I did with a radio show where we went to, I guess, one of Janis Joplin's place. It's somewhere here in Hollywood. It's the hotel, or I can't remember, like something Gardens. Mm-hmm. And they have all the closet and all the artwork of Janis Joplin and this and that. Caught an EVP that sounded exactly like Janis Joplin. Yeah.
That's where I would be booking to the door.
But I love it. I love documenting it. I don't go in there for like, come on, ghost, like, come F with me. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm looking for.
Those shows are so dramatic. They're like, where are you? Like, it's like, get a grip. Like, right? Shut up. So, I mean, I get it's TV, but like, damn.
Yeah. It's just like, that's not my style, because like I really came into this work really wanting to have an understanding, and I'm like a sponge. I absorb everything. I try to read everything, and I will never know everything about this work either. Like, again, I will be this eternal student of always learning this work. So I will never have all the answers. I will never be correct meaning in my opinions, because it's just mainly my opinion. So another meeting will have a different opinion on, say, reincarnation, or how to connect with a loved one or this and that, because we all work differently.
Going back to investigations, because I know that is one thing that you do. You do work with the police or like in FBI, or like how does that work, and how did you get into that?
As I mentioned, my passion, I won't say a passion, but the direction I wanted to go was to work in law enforcement.
Right. So
and
I
wanted to be a detective. I wanted to be like, I didn't want to be on the streets, doing that, but that's part of the duty of being a police officer in the direction where you want to go. The way the whole law enforcement thing happened was really part of God and spirit, to be quite frank, because I had a family member that reached out to me when I was 19 and a half. And it was a case in Sacramento, if I'm not mistaken. And so the family had a reading with me and they said, hey, we're going to give this to the detective. Detectives are not really big on medium, psychics, this and that. We're like the last thing they want to take information from. They don't want to go on, what do you call it, on a rabbit trail or whatever type of thing, or a rabbit hole. They don't want to go down that thing. So for me, I'm kind of just like a person giving a tip, if you will. But I think when I started getting credibility of working with different departments, small and large, usually with the larger departments, like say Chicago PD, NYPD, LAPD, it's hard to work with them because there's a lot of red tape. But again, I'm just giving a tip, if you will, because I'm just a normal citizen providing that information. Now, it's the job of the detective to figure out that information. So say, for instance, that I told this detective, whatever department it is, said, hey, this is where I'm seeing the person's body, where they're buried, in this direction. I get it here. I feel like I'm in a mile radius. I provide the location, markings, landmarks, all that stuff. And the detective goes there. Says, oh crap, we got a body. So if he has a body, the detective has to say like how he got that information. Got it from an intuitive, got it from a psychic. Oh. So psychics and mediums will never be appointed on stand. They will never be on a witness stand because we're just kind of, again, a normal person providing information. So I think there's only been one case that I know of that has been documented. I think it was by the New York Post or New York Times, where the FBI actually had a woman who was an intuitive that had to prove, like, because she found the body, not the detectives. And so when you give information like that, then you're considered as like,
suspect or something. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I would turn that part off. You said you could, the bouncers, like, I don't want to, this is messy.
Yeah. But the thing about that, like for me, like what I've noticed is that a lot of smaller departments are open to it. Like a lot of small towns are open to it. Working with an intuitive. Most of the big, like again, the bigger departments are not, because again, just their own personal views. But also for me is building a portfolio with that. Like, the classes that I've taken, the classes I put on, who I work with, the detectives, and having all that stuff to prove, like, I'm not saying it just to say it, like, this is what I've done, or this is who I know, or this is who I can give you as a reference as a retired detective or active detective or this department. So it's really being, not in a way of flaunting it, but in a way of saying, like, this is what I also have done, and this is what I can do. But I can never have the answers. I will never have all the answers. And people always ask, like, oh, why don't they just say, like, this is who killed me? Like, it's not that easy either, because the way I work mediumship when I sit with clients. When I do detective, psychic, anything like that, it's more psychic abilities, psychic information, impressions. So it's a completely different level, and it's exhausting. So it's not just working 30 minutes or 60 minutes on the case. It's working like hours that I'm putting into pro bono, and I don't charge. I do it pro bono if the police department wants me to do it. Have
you ever had, like, I know it's not like That's So Raven, but like a vision where like you see a body in a ditch and then it's like...
It only happens unless I'm working on a case.
Okay, so you don't just get like downloads or whatever you call
downloads
them.
Actually are a great thing that I tell people. Like the downloads happen in weird moments. Like if I'm watching the news, it doesn't happen every time, but I have a gut feeling about something. I'm like, oh, this didn't happen. Like, or same thing with the Gene Hackman case? The actor that died recently, and then his wife died after him or something like that. And then the dog.
Yeah, with the dogs.
Yeah. Okay. So my spidey senses went up and I told my wife, I go, hey, da-da-da-da. And she was
What's
like,
the da-da-da-da?
I can't.
Come on, give us the da-da-da-da.
Because like I always try to stay professional in this work.
Okay.
But again, I don't want to be like, oh, I know everything about everything when I see on the news. It's just a hunch, like that intuition where my spidey senses go on like, ooh. And when I get that moment of like, oh, this is interesting. And I love like when the cases become like these, not saying I love it, but when it becomes like, okay, this is a mystery, quote unquote. I did not think it was a mystery. I figured it out really quickly. And my wife was like, okay. And once all that information and still coming out, she's just like, okay, that's creepy. So for me, again, it's more of those feelings
Right.
more so than anything else. But I don't know everything that's going to happen for every person that's missing or this and that. I don't try to tune into it. I let it happen organically. But again, that rarely happens. But when it does, I always find it like, AJ, pay attention. Like my guide's telling me, like, pay attention. And
Wow.
but I don't go on posting on social media, this and that, like, oh, like, you know, like I'm gonna go back to something. Again, being ethical in this work is everything. So obviously, maybe not. I don't know how much you are aware about a lot of these cases, but Gabby Petito, you know that case, correct? Brandon Laundrie. So social media in itself is a beast. And I see a lot of people, especially with TikTok, these psychics and medium claiming, oh, I'm channeling Gabby Petito and Brandon. And that's a one thing you shouldn't absolutely positively not be doing. Don't disrespect the family like that.
Yeah.
Do not do that. You don't know the grief state that they're at. You know, you don't know where they're going through. You don't know anything about that case. By you providing false information, saying like, hey, I'm channeling this and this is where Brandon's at, or this is what Gabby went through. Like there's so many people out there that are looking for that clout. It pisses me off.
Yeah. I mean, it's clickbait at the end of the day when there's families mourning and awful things that have happened. So.
Absolutely. And I see a lot of people that are saying, oh, I'm channeling this celebrity that just passed on. Like Liam that passed away. Oh, he's from
Liam Payne.
Thank you.
Yes.
A lot of people on TikTok that were saying they're psychics were saying, I'm channeling him. This is what he's saying. There's no freaking way that you can channel a person like that. Like for me, the only way I can channel, like say Elvis, which I have done, is because I have a personal connection that I'm reading for that individual that has that connection.
Okay.
So I can't magically say, hey, let me channel Lucille Ball. I can't do that.
Bored. I want a good laugh.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it has to be some type of connection in order to really.
You're really good friends with Lucille Ball, your family, you worked with her, you know, personal information. Like I can't just randomly call upon anyone that I would like to, as a lot of these people claim to do that are mediums and psychics.
Yeah. And I think there are so many people out there that claim they have this ability or this like intuition. And it kind of, it's like ruining it for the real ones.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's kind of.
It makes our job harder to bring that awareness. Like if you look at any of my TikTok videos and my Instagram videos, my reels, they're all mainly educational, teaching people. It's not about me providing readings. I will post readings, honestly, here and there. Mm-hmm. Amazing readings, but it's not about me.
Right.
It's about the message. I get it. But the message I need to provide to people is the truth. And some people may hate me because I'm providing the truth, and you may hate me I may get some bad clash for saying the things that I'm saying here, but it's the honest truth. You can't do that. There's no freaking way.
Yeah.
I'm real.
No, I know. And that's why I like, even just watching your content, it's like, you could just tell like it's no bullshit.
Yeah.
Like it's just all facts.
Yeah.
And I can't understand how people watch your YouTube videos and like don't see like there's no way in hell this man knew this.
Again, it's about the message. And I don't want to be disrespectful to the families that are there, but obviously the families know that this event's being filmed and
right.
But those are beautiful moments and some things that happen. One lady that was reading for her son came through and I said, your son is saying that he wants to thank you for his blue jacket. And she goes, I buried him with his blue jacket because I didn't want him to be cold. And it just breaks my heart. Like I get tears in my eyes because like there's just that one thing sometimes that all people need to hear to make that experience real for them. And
to just like solidify that they're okay. Because that is the thing. Like we just want to make sure our loved ones are still with us to an extent, or we just know that they're fine. Like in movies, we always see the afterlife is like depicted in like Ghost, you know, it's like
one of my favorite movies, by the way.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
But is there a movie that you would say depicts the afterlife well?
That's a great question, and it's tough. I mean, let me kind of give you my perspective, my opinion about this. So we all have our own views of heaven and hell. You know, we will always have our own different views, opinions, and on what it looks like. My heaven will never be your heaven. Your hell will never be my hell. It's our perception. Right. So whatever you believe what your heaven will be. So if you're thinking about your heaven is about going shopping and playing video games or whatever that looks like to you, that's your heaven. For me, I truly believe that we reunite with our loved ones, all past ancestors, even if it was from 100 years ago, our pets, you know, rabbits, dogs, all that stuff, they're also there as well. We're a vibration, we're energy. We don't have a physical body. So we know each other on a soul level, but we won't know each other on a physical level. We know each other on a physical level here, but we don't have a body over there. We're energy. So we vibrate on that level. So think of it how hard spirit has to do to bridge a connection here in the physical realm with a medium or to anyone else that are looking for the signs and signals.
Right.
they have to lower down their vibration and we have to speed up ours in that sense to make that connection, even for that little moment. And so there's little things that happen here that spirit has to do for us to pay attention to, maybe the signs and signals. You know what I mean? So I think for me, and I kind of want to backtrack onto, so the signs and signals. So think of it as like the movie Ghost, as I mentioned, one of my favorite ones. What dreams may come. Again, this is just kind of perception ideas. What I would see as like Ghost is kind of very close to what I would think as like the afterlife and what happens. Like at the very end, Patrick Swayze, Molly hears his voice for the very first time and sees him, and that light comes down and he goes home. There's all these people that are there greeting him.
Wow.
So I think that it's very similar. Like what I love about the movie is not like people always talk about the penny scene. Slide the penny under the door. Slide the penny. I know that movie by word for word. So, so I know it word for word. But my favorite scene, honestly, is not anything like dramatic like that. It was something so simple. It's where Molly Jensen, Demi Moore, this is after Sam passed on, and she's sitting in her living room and she's looking at a photo, and she goes, "Sam, is that you?" Because something happened. And she recognizes it and she goes, maybe not. So sometimes in those moments that we're grieving, we have to pay attention to those subtle things. So I think by Ghost, and I recommend everyone to watch it. It's a movie that I would say is very similar to me, at least as a medium, that I would compare what the other side looks like. Do I know what it looks like? Absolutely not. I don't think any medium can really officially tell you what it looks like.
Have you ever asked your spirit guides?
Never get it.
Wow.
It's not something that I need to know.
Okay.
Is what I believe.
But you do believe that there is some type of afterlife. Like there is a place for all of us. And whether you're religious, spiritual, there's something where we're all collectively together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not in a physical body, but in like a vibration.
A soul level, a soul group.
And going back to like the ghosts, like, people like the ghost sightings. Right. How does that work then? If we're energy, how does it work? Like when people are like, I see a ghost. Yeah,
that could be residual energy that's left behind. So I don't think it's what we call a haunting. It's just the last memory of that soul that it remembers. So it's not really stuck. It's not an earthbound, if you will. Some people will call them earthbounds. And again, people have different opinions.
Right.
I really believe those souls just come and go in those moments that they feel comfortable to, or they remember that last tragic event. Think of it like, for me, I don't know if you've ever been to the Queen Mary in Long Beach. Have you? Okay.
Is that a
bar? The boat? No, boat. Ship.
No, but Parent Trap.
Huh?
It's from Parent Trap.
Is it?
I think so.
I don't know.
I could be making that up. I think it is.
You're much younger than me. So here's the thing. I wouldn't know it from Parent Trap, but it's very haunted, that ship. And I've gone there many, many times and captured some of my best evidence there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you have had ghost encounters where you like see capture here.
I mean, I've had in door 13, there was an individual that got stuck there. The door slammed on him. And I have captured many EVPs from that very moment of saying AJ, get out, on the recorder. But I won't hear it with my naked ear. But when we go back and listen to that recording, it says AJ, get out, like a different voice. Yeah.
Like an angry get out, or
like get out of that doorway.
Be careful.
Yeah, get out of that doorway, because that's how he died. And I'm standing there doing an EVP. Yeah. So I've captured some amazing documentation of the afterlife. Yeah.
I actually have once before. I was in a photography class in high school. And when you like shoot a few like blanks before you can, like,
officially
the exposed.
Right.
Yeah. And I was shooting it up. I was at the Fine Arts Center in Chicago. So it's a very old building, like the Titanic style elevator, when you had to push the buzzer and like the gates. And there was a woman, transparent, with a cloak. And it will forever hunt. It was I wish I still had it. I think it's at my dad's house, but the craziest thing.
Wow.
And it was insane. Like my art teacher, she's like, print, because we were in the black room and then we took it to the light, and she's like, print like 80 more of these. This is crazy. But it was
super cool.
I wish I still had it. And I kind of forgot about it until we were talking about this, but it was insane. So, I mean, something like that, those are just like low vibrational entities that are here.
Yeah, I mean, I would say stuck, if you will. Some people, again, call them earthbounds. I don't think they're stuck. I think, again, it's just residual. Last place that they remember, last memory, they died tragically, which is why they're there, but I can't really say they're stuck, honestly. I think it's something that they just remember and they go back to. So it's not that they're torturing themselves every time that an investigation happens or this and that, but I really believe it's part of what they're connected to energetically because of how they passed on. I'm going to ask you something now.
Oh, ask me.
Okay. Because you mentioned your dad and spidey senses.
Okay.
Do you know both sides of your family, mom's side and dad's side?
Yes. Yeah.
Who would be, so in my perception, it came through earlier in a conversation we were talking about. Is there a police officer passing over for you?
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. My grandpa.
Is that mom's side?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We need to acknowledge him because he's showing me the badge. And I just feel like when your grandfather comes through, he obviously wants to say hello from heaven and the way that he comes through. It's interesting with him because when he shows himself to me, he's shown himself as still being kind of like a badass, but very gentle and loving in the way that he presents himself to me.
Okay.
He's bringing up for me, which I don't fully understand with him, is that you would know a lot about him, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there something I would be missing or might be misinterpreting? Was his passing like very sudden, but not unexpected? Meaning that, was there something that I would see that would be like a blockage, like cardiovascular or something that we need to highlight here with him?
I really feel bad because I remember he had it.
Dementia, Alzheimer's?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not exactly sure. He might have had a heart attack at the
Okay. What I'm seeing as a blockage, so there might be like a stroke, an aneurysm, a heart attack, something like that. Okay. So if there is something neurological, just hold on to it because I don't want you to make it fit. That's not about you. Yeah. I'd rather provide much information as possible so you can go back and talk to your mom or dad or whoever about it.
Right.
But I just feel like in some ways when he shows it to me, he just makes me feel like that he obviously is well aware of what was going on, but obviously he couldn't have that control of the physical body. What I do need to bring up here, mom is still living, correct, for you?
Yes.
Do you still talk with mom? Again, I don't know your dynamic and you're like, okay, we need to bring up in a way that he wants to be apologetic to your mother, because in the way that he shows it to me is like the difficulty of like caretaking for him. And I just feel like in some ways that perhaps he was a little bit difficult, not intentionally, but I just feel like in some ways that he wants to express that love and gratitude towards her in a very, very big way. On that side of the family, is there also like a Katie or Kathy or a CIK name also?
Oh my God. This is crazy. My sister's name's Katie. And then my grandma's name is Kathy.
Okay.
So
is Kathy
CNK.
passed on? So is Kathy passed on?
Sorry, I don't mean to cry. That's insane.
You're in a safe place.
Yeah.
Is Kathy passed on?
Yes. Yeah.
So just know that he's with his wife, your grandmother. Oh. So just know that this is also then both grandmas or grandparents acknowledging you and your sister. So let your sister know that grandparents say hello from heaven in the way that they come through. What's interesting here is that when we bring up like your grandmother, there's just a very spiritual sense of her of like spiritually embracing you girls in a way that she shows herself to me. What she's telling me to tell you though, is that I feel like obviously you have physical time with her, but I just feel like in some ways that she doesn't want you to feel guilty for you as if like you didn't spend enough time for her.
Okay.
So I just feel like there's a way with her that she wants to identify more so that connection. Now, I don't know if this is still on dad's side or it's mom's side, but I do need to acknowledge a separate male figure on dad's side that we do need to bring up here. So is your grandfather on your dad's side also passed on?
Yes.
So let me, and I don't mean to not look at you, I'm just interpreting it.
Yeah.
They're showing me my grandfather who passed on a year ago in February.
Sorry.
My grandfather did amazing things. He did music. He did a lot of crazy things. But more importantly, he was a boxer. Is there a boxer reference we need to bring up here?
Yeah, my grandpa was a boxer on my dad's side. Yeah, he was a boxer.
You just gave me goosebumps. Okay.
What the hell?
Okay, so we need to acknowledge that. Oh my God. Look at this. So here's the thing. You're going to have probably multiple people jumping at the bit to be here, depending on the loss and what you can validate. As I mentioned in the beginning of this podcast, don't know if you knew their grandfather, but we do need to acknowledge him as the boxer, how he comes through.
Yeah.
And I just feel like in some ways that we need to talk about then perhaps his legacy, or maybe perhaps how your dad has honored him in his home. Would you know your dad's side of the family pretty well?
Yeah.
I might be wrong, so bear with me. So I have a younger energy that's coming through, which is younger than your grandparents. So is there then a son energy passed on or a brother figure passed on for you?
Not from my dad's brother.
Dad's brother. Okay. Do you know a lot about him by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you a reference, which might seem a little left field or may not even make sense. Was his passing somehow like, I wouldn't say a mystery, but kind of like how did this happen?
A bit, yeah.
Okay. There's anytime I see question marks around him passing, it represents like he was healthy as a horse and all of a sudden he passed on. Like there's something that seems very unique about his passing. I can't tell you if it's a heart attack, a stroke, or this and that, just to be quite frank, but the way I'm getting it seems different. So whatever happened to his passing, I can assure you that his brother, your dad's brother, is safe in the afterlife. So regardless if he passed on recently or many years ago, this is his way also saying, I'm here. There's also a separate reference with him, though, that we do need to acknowledge here, either to him or to you. Who would be who would be like the Shelley or the SH or CH name? Like Shelley, Sherry.
That's his wife. Sherry is his wife.
Still living?
Yeah.
Do you still talk with her?
I don't.
Okay. This might be his way acknowledging her and saying hello from heaven. So regardless if you talk with her or not, that's okay. Doesn't mean if you go pick up the phone call and call her, this is just way of saying that he's still around her. So just make note to that. I don't think there's anything that you need to do, but I just feel like that you have some amazing people that obviously wanted to come through. And I think it's because of conversation, honestly, Jillian, that you brought up was the whole investigation thing is probably why this session is taking place. Because there was two things that kind of stuck out to me. I'm like, again, AJ, pay attention. It's those moments. And I feel like they need to communicate with you in a very big and loud way.
Okay, if anybody thinks that this is not real, we have living proof. Thank you.
I know it was just on the spot. I know, but again, it was because two things you said in the conversation that said, oh, this might be something you need to pay attention to. And then you asked something again. I don't know what it was, but you'll probably see my reaction on my face about something where I'm like, you'll see me make a face because there's something that said like, pay attention.
But I just want to go back to my uncle on my dad's side. It's crazy that you said he died in a dramatic way. He did. He had a heart attack on a cruise and it was like the most unexpected thing. So I just thought that like just validating you, like it was, that's just insane that you picked that up.
Was he, and this is just nothing from him. I'm just curious now.
Okay.
Was he able to get medical attention on the cruise or did he just?
They kind of brushed it off.
Yeah.
And then he had another massive heart attack and died on the cruise.
Yeah. I figured that, again, it's so bizarre to me what I was seeing. I was like, this is so weird, like mysterious, sorry. There was something weird about it that I'm like, and there's question marks around it. So anytime I get that symbol, I know like there's something off about someone's passing.
Right. I didn't want to like stop you in that time.
But thank you for validating me because I probably would have bugged me like on the way home, my driver. I'm like, oh God, how did he pass on? You know what I mean?
it was very unexpected. I mean, he wasn't like that healthy, right. But to have a massive heart attack on a vacation with his family
that's not normal.
It's not normal.
I don't think I've ever had that happen in a reading in my 22 years. Honestly, I don't think I've ever had anything like that happen. So again, now this becomes a new symbol for me. So if you ever see me say, hey, did someone pass away on a vacation? It's going to be because of your reference today.
Okay.
That's how my vocabulary builds. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for, doing like that. That was... I'm like still like, it's just like it's hard to jump back into like questions because I'm like I still have questions, but we're not gonna like linger because it's not about me. But that was so insane.
Well,
you have such a beautiful skill, and that's thank you. No, thank you.
Well, as I said, just let it flow organically. That's the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad. Like again, we don't force. Like I always tell clients like, and people in radio and television like, don't force me to do a reading. Because if you force me, you want it that bad, it's probably not going to happen.
Right.
And I always tell people, and I know that's why everyone wants me on their show or want me to do their podcast because they want a reading.
The thing is, I did not think that you were going to do a reading. Oh. And I never really thought about it until a couple of days ago. I was like, oh, that would be cool, but I don't want to like say we're coming here to ask questions and then be like, I want a free reading. Like that's.
Well, thank you for being honestly. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I just wanted to like tap into like what you do, but. Yeah, like sitting here, I'm like, I don't, because I don't really feel connected to spirit. And let's go back to like, you did say that it was like almost like a skill you had to keep like working with, like whether it be your teacher or by yourself.
Yeah.
Does everybody somewhat have, like we talk about female intuition all the time, but like, how do people become more intuitive if they do want to connect with other people?
Yeah. Or just a higher consciousness in general or higher self, So for me, a lot of people, I believe in meditation. I believe like creating a sacred space.
Yeah.
So for example, the studio for you would be your sacred space. You would meditate, you would put the energy into it, you'd focus on that. And the way that you would work with that is like grounding, protecting yourself, working with your chakras, opening and closing them. And I know that sounds a little woo-woo and Hollywood stuff, but it's the honest truth because with every reading that I start my day with, I open up a meditation. I don't meditate with every single client, but I open up a meditation before I even start my work, before I even get out of bed. I ground myself, protect myself, prayer and all that stuff. And I believe in God still. I wear a cross and I believe in prayers and all that stuff. It's part of my, how I grew up. It's my belief.
Yeah.
But also I believe that, you know, if you have a healthy balance of religious and spirituality, they blend beautifully together. You know what I mean? So for us, I think it's really what makes sense to us. So if you feel like that prayer makes more sense to you to ground and protect yourself, do that because prayer is a vibration. Music is a vibration. So I tell people, if you want to connect and ground yourself and you feel like that you can't quiet the mind, listen to music. It's a form of meditation. We think of meditation as sitting on the floor and saying Om. Like that's not what it is. Right. Meditation can be, again, listening to music. Like I'm sure this has happened to many people, where they're watching TV or watching a movie or whatever it is, and they just zone out.
Like every day. Yeah.
Because you're so comfortable.
I thought it was just like mind-numbing television. Right. Like just in a trance.
Basically, that's what it is. You're so grounded. You're so like in a zone that you feel like that, okay. And all of a sudden, boom, you get right back in. What did I miss? What did I watch? And like, again, you're in an environment, something that feels comfortable. So if you feel comfortable listening to music, prayer, meditation, whatever that looks like to you, that's how you're going to raise your vibration and making sure that you open and close that door, meaning energetically. Think of it in a very taboo way, and I don't want to be spooky by any means what I'm about to say, but think of it like using a Ouija board. Ouija boards, people think it's a bad thing. It's just a tool.
So wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Because Ouija board scared the crap out of me.
I have one.
I
have a custom made one. Yeah.
You would.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, you should too. Because so many people, we have like this scary idea about a Ouija board. Sorry, I'm just like now taking this whole idea and running with it.
That's my fault.
No. But I told you, did I tell you in the beginning I'm a space cadet and like ADD, ADHD, everything under the sun. So with Ouija boards, we are actually connecting. Do you believe that is like a connection to the spiritual realm?
Yeah, it's just a tool. It's just a tool that we use as intuitives and mediums. Not every medium will use it. Just think of it like tarot cards. It's a tool. Yeah.
Okay.
Think of crystals. Think of a crystal ball. Think of automatic writing, you know what I mean? Where you channel information, do scribbles, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of different things that medium will use as a tool, but a Ouija board is just a tool. Like you want to open up the door and close it with prayer, protection, whatever makes sense. If you don't close it or you're looking for the bad intention, you're doing the wrong thing, you're working with the board in a negative light, you're going to bring in negative energy. What I believe is I believe that I work with God, I work with the highest light. That's all. Yeah. And that's it.
So you just choose to not have anything bad happen to you. Yeah, I think that's the best. Like I always am like I don't believe in ghosts because I don't want to. I don't want to see some shit. But
I mean, there are times, don't get me wrong, where I joke around, this is the honest truth. Like when I do my shows, sometimes they're small, like say 150 people or 500, depending on the venue, depending where I go.
Right.
And I'm done doing my readings for the night, good, content. Either if I have a driver taking me home or if I drive myself, depending where I'm at. And there's been times where I've driven myself to the event and I have a sports car and I have bucket seats.
Okay.
And there's been many times I've looked in my rearview mirror and seen someone sitting behind in my car, scare the crap. Almost a couple times where I've almost like on the freeway, like got in an accident.
Ooh.
It doesn't happen all the time, but I can tell you at least a handful of times for sure. Or maybe less, like 4 times maybe. But it has happened in those moments. And it's always creeps the crap out of me because I'm like, I don't want a hitchhiker. No hitchhikers. And I shut down. I like do what I got to do and I'm good. I'm content.
And you just, shut it there.
Done. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's where I would just draw the line. But I guess you have to be open to the unexpected. Yeah. Like you have to know. Expect the unexpected. So obviously you have the skill to talk to anybody. I mean, well, you don't, you have to be connected with the person. We already know that. But like with your family, are you able to tap in and communicate with your loved ones like easily?
No, actually, I can't read for myself. I can't read for my own loved ones. I choose not to read for my own family and friends. I don't want to because it's very personal. And I don't want to go into their personal space. I don't want to know information that I shouldn't know about.
Okay.
And there's information that I've found out about certain individuals, family members that I did not want to know about without even reading them, just energetically like, ooh, like Spidey senses?
Yeah.
Like that.
Like if someone's cheating or some drama.
Wow. There's been times where with my sister's pregnancy, knowing they're pregnant before they even knew they're pregnant or before they said anything.
What?
There's been many times where I'll tell you that, and I've talked to people about this on podcasts and shows and this and that. People don't answer my phone calls because they're afraid I'm going to come with bad news. They wait for me to text them to see what news I'm carrying. And most of the time it's just, hey, how you doing?
Yeah,
just checking in. And most of the time, like, are you really checking in? Or it's like, you got to tell me something. Oh, no, just want to talk to you.
Saying hey. Sigh of relief.
Yeah, so
wow.
I don't read for family or friends. Do I get information, like little pings? Yeah, but I go with it respectfully into it. Like, because I don't want to think that I'm invading their privacy or I'm doing something. But my sisters are pretty intuitive. Like, they're really intuitive. I really believe my younger sister would have started doing the work at the time I was doing my work. She'd probably even be better than me.
Wow.
Yeah.
She chose.
She was afraid of it. She didn't want to embrace it, scared of it. I think there was a lot of things that she did not know. And being at a young age that I did not know everything either.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to tell my little sister to do this or this is going to be okay or blah, blah, blah. Like, I did not know. And I just try to teach her as much as possible that I could just to stay grounded and protected.
Yeah. At the end of the day, people might use it as also like a party favor. Like, oh, hey, he could do this, and it's just like, it's your line of work at the end of the day and you get paid for this. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when I meet people, they will ask me what I do. Sometimes I'll tell them, like, depending who I'm with or what I'm, the group. And sometimes I tell people like I'm a grief therapist or a grief counselor. I feel like that in my work, I'm always healing people through their grief. So yeah, it's kind of like a good thing to say to people because once I say I'm a psychic, it's just kind of like a million questions. It's like they want to put a quarter on me and slot machine type of thing.
Us right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like, you can't leave. No.
If I don't come home, you guys know where I'm at.
You guys know where he's at. He's stuck here at After Curvy Podcast until eternity.
Well, I kind of want to put something out there because you kind of like went into a direction of like the skill, the ability.
Right.
So what I want people to understand, people watching, listening, to really understand, like they say, oh, this is from God. This is a gift. It's an ability. Mm-hmm. We all have this ability to be intuitive, mediums, and so on and so forth. So I don't consider this as the gift because I kind of cringe every time when people say, oh, you got the gift or God gave this to you. I believe in God. But I believe God gave us all an ability to do amazing things. Just like singers, say Beyonce. God blessed her to sing. She charges for tickets and this and that, like musicians. I'm blessed because I work with my skill, my craft, and my ability. This is why I charge what I do.
Right.
We all have to make a living. We all have to pay for mortgages, cars, home, food, family, insurance, all that stuff. So people always cringe, oh, you charge. Why do you charge? And I'm like, this is what I do for a living. Like, this is my livelihood. Mm-hmm. Why do you go to a restaurant and pay for their food?
Exactly.
They have an ability to be amazing chefs.
Yeah.
You're paying for their craft.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you just said, like a Beyonce, like you pay to go see this incredible skill. Like,
yeah.
Especially like it's something that you're also benefiting from, like me as someone who's coming to sit down and get a reading.
Yeah.
I mean, like, of course. Yeah.
It's weird. I just want people to have that understanding that it's truly an ability and something that we all can develop. Like, women intuition, it's always there. And I think intuition in general is there for us. It's that gut feeling. It's that feeling that we have. We just need to pay attention. With me, I started at a young age. I paid attention more often. I read a lot of books. I absorbed a lot of information. I researched everything that I possibly can. That's why I'm in the field that I am.
Have you ever had a reading where it's like this person has cancer or like this person is going to die in a week? Like something that was so like red alert.
Health conditions do come through, and I always state, like, I'm not a doctor, not a physician, I don't diagnose, always put that out there. But I would say go get this checked out because I'm seeing blackness in the body. Anytime I see blackness in the body, it represents lymphoma, cancer, a tumor, something like that. And I will tell them, like, I'm sitting in this general section. I remember there was one individual recently, female, and I said, hey, you need to go check your throat or there's something here. I'm seeing blackness. She goes, no, I've been to she goes, funny that you say that. She goes, I've been to many doctors and this and that. I keep telling them like there's something wrong with me. She actually had thyroid cancer. She found out a couple weeks later. So again, she goes, if you did not tell me and encourage me to do it, she said, I probably would have never went to go into getting a specialist to go look at it.
Right.
So there are times that medical things do come up, but I'm not always correct. I'm not a doctor. I don't play God. I don't know when people are going to pass on. I don't know that. But sometimes spirits will bring through information about what someone is going through, meaning when they're close to their transition. So if they're in a hospital, they're at a certain point in their life, but I never see when someone's going to pass. I don't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like the feelings and like.
Yeah. I think it's more so understanding, delivering information. I will always give what I get, good, bad, and the ugly. And sometimes people sit in front of me like, don't tell me anything bad. Came to the wrong psychic medium. Because I am blunt, I am honest, and obviously you can tell who I am today.
Yeah.
I don't hold anything back.
No, and I think for me, I would want to know everything. Like if there's some like drama, like even going back to like my dad's side of the family, it's like I want to know like every single good, bad, ugly. It's like it's gonna help you. Going back to also like you said, like it's what you need to hear, not what you might want to hear, and that's just life. And can't sugarcoat it.
Right. And I don't. I believe those messages are coming through from that loved one, that spirit. There's a reason why you or the person, like your father, needs to hear it and receive it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Through the 22 years of doing this, what would you say is like the best piece of advice that you have like learned through all of these amazing abilities? That's
there's a lot that goes into this. Stay grounded, stay humble, remember your roots. Remember, this is not about you. It's about the people. And know that any day, any time that your life can be gone in a second. So say, I love you, call the people, text them, even the ones that you don't talk to, because you never know where they're at in their life today.
Beautiful. Yeah. AJ, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on my website at ajbarrera.com. I do all virtual readings that are there. I don't do in person. I do also online mini group sessions and I also do live shows. You can find my, I'm hitting the road. So you're going to find some new dates for new places where I'll be traveling, doing shows. And then you can find me on Instagram at AJ_Barrera and TikTok, the same thing, AJ_Barrera.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You honestly, from the minute you walked in, like your energy is just amazing. Like
it's probably the makeup.
It's the makeup.
It's Clinique. It's Clinique. No.
He's shining, everybody. But you are such an incredible person. You have an incredible gift. Just being able to, I've seen what you've done, but now being able to experience it, it truly is.
Thank you.
Insane in every way possible. So thank you so much for taking the time, being on After Curfew. Hopefully we'll have to have you back.
Absolutely.
More readings. I got a lot of dead people in my life, so I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Jillian, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.